What's going on, everyone? 78% of the S&P 500 initially closed up in the green, and today's tariff event was the start of something giant, and things are about to get a whole lot crazier than we've seen in a long time. If you're a trader, right now you better be excited because there's going to be so many different opportunities that come from this environment. In today's video, we're going to cover everything you have to know. Welcome to Liberation Day.
Yeah, Liberation Day is not kicking off in the right way here, Mike. We're seeing Apple and a lot of these tech stocks fall down. Now, I know that the heat map looks pretty good here, but if we switch it to show it the after hours changes here, you can see that things got a lot worse, and pretty much every stock in the S&P is down a little bit. Of course, not everything, like Procter & Gamble's up in the green, of course, but like Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Google, Meta, Amazon, the Mag 7, everything's down. Even banks are starting to fall down in after hours. So we are seeing a massive dip here as Trump announced these tariffs, Mike, and everybody has been waiting for this tariff update all week long. This was called the Make America Wealthy Again event. I know that they've been waiting for the tariff announcements for a while, so let's get right into it, right? Trump came out, talked about a lot of tariffs. He did announce right off the bat they were going to be doing a 10% minimum tariff across the board on all imports. And then things got a little wild. Trump brought out the tariff board, and that's what really surprised traders here.
Exactly. So basically, if we go to the charts, Tom, we could see initially the market actually had a bullish reaction as Trump said that, okay, we're going to have a minimum 10% tariff, but as soon as he brought out this reciprocal tariff board is when everything changed. Basically, what this shows is that we're going to be doing like a 50% off like discount reciprocal tariff compared to what other countries charge us when you also include like the combined rate of their non-monetary barriers and what Trump calls their other forms of cheating. The key thing to take away from this is that first one on the left side. We are set to impose a 34% reciprocal tariff on China. This is insane, and it is one of the main reasons that Apple is getting hit the hardest in after hours right now. Of course, they have a lot of exposure to China, but this is like a big deal here. You know, a 34% tariff to China is massive, and it certainly has the potential to cause another trade war like we saw back in 2018, and China's far from the only country that has a big tariff imposed on it.
Yeah, definitely, Mike. You know, going back to that board, there's a lot of countries out there. The EU has a 20% tariff, Vietnam 46%. I thought it was funny whenever Trump was talking about Cambodia, he was like, oh, Cambodia, because they charge the U.S. a 97% tariff, which is pretty insane. We're tariffing them at a 49% clip. So there's a lot of different countries here. There was a lot of stuff mentioned with the automobiles as well. He said there was a 25% tariff on all foreign automobiles at midnight, and he talked a lot of he said a lot of negative things even about Ford and General Motors, about, you know, them not really making a lot of car parts here and stuff. And then he also said that it's hard for them to sell in other countries as well. So it was kind of like a lot of talks out there, obviously, with some specific companies. I know Trump was even mentioning TSM a lot. He was mentioning their CEO and how they're investing a lot of money in the United States, but unfortunately Trump's mentions tonight have not been helping these stocks.
Yeah, today's event is going to shake a whole lot of things up, and I think that this will end up being one of the most important days of 2025 for multiple different reasons. It is going to be extremely interesting to see how all of these other countries respond to our tariffs, because this can definitely spark like a global trade war, and I think it says a lot how basically everything is selling off in after hours right now, and we're going to cover a lot more of this specific movement as the video goes on. But this news is crazy, and the tariffs are finally into effect. I know Canada and Mexico both mentioned potential retaliations, and we're all just waiting on what all of these other countries are going to say. And I also saw that the Trump administration added beer and can imports to their aluminum tariffs as well.
Yeah, that's pretty rough to see the beer in cans getting tariff there. That makes me think a lot about like the EU, for example. Like whenever we go back to like the tariff board, and of course any other country that imports beer into the U.S., but that is one of the countries that definitely makes me think about the beer. And I was even looking at Bitcoin in after hours. It can't even hide. Even Bitcoin is kind of falling off here ever since the market closed and ever since this tariff event has started. But I know that, of course, Mike, everybody's really worried right now about the tariffs. I am watching gold, though, move to the upside, which is a great sign. GLD did make a new all-time high in after hours tonight, so I will have my eyes on that as one thing, as a positive thing to watch for tomorrow. And then, of course, keep your eyes on UVXY. The VIX is starting to pop off pretty well on this. Of course, UVXY is in after hours, and if we continue to see the overall market dropping like this, UVXY, SPXS, and SQQQ could be some of the best opportunities in the short term. Even in after hours right now on this drop, like from the bottom, SQQQ is up 14%.
Insane. And just like you mentioned, all of those tickers are where a lot of people rush into when there's just rising fear and panic in the market. So definitely keep a very close eye on those ones. But some other important information to keep in mind is that when we look back at nearly 75 years of market history, more specifically going all the way back to 1950, we could see that we're also heading into a seasonally weak time of the year where when you have the market up over 20% the previous year. Normally, like the tax season, which is exactly what we're heading into, tends to be pretty weak, as we can see in that like green line on the chart.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy to say. And, those years like where the SPY didn't go up 20% the year before, we generally see pretty good positivity throughout this time of the year. And it's pretty crazy to see that dip. Now, I am happy, at least at the beginning of April, seasonality is pretty good. But definitely, like, once we get to like that middle part of the month, I'm going to start to become increasingly more worried. And, we'll be talking about seasonality on April, I'm sure, a lot over the next couple weeks.
No doubt. And as we know, Elon has been all in the headlines lately, and today was no exception. So Tesla stock actually had a good day when you look at it in terms of like how it closed, but it definitely wasn't able to escape the beating that we saw in after hours. And a couple key things happened here today. The first thing is that they reported their deliveries data, like we talked about in yesterday's video, and they dropped 13% year over year. They came in below expectations. Tesla stock lost $460 billion in market cap in the first quarter, and the stock initially started to run today because there were a bunch of headlines circulating that Elon could be leaving his like Doge post soon, and then Elon came out on Twitter and said that was fake news, so that kind of canceled that out, but there was certainly a lot of news and action here today.
Yeah, definitely. I was very surprised. Like, they came out and said that Elon would be leaving that Doge position soon. And man, everybody was rushing to buy Tesla. And there were so many articles. I mean, you name it. I saw articles from like Politico, things on CNBC, all the Twitter people posting about it. It was a pretty big thing whenever it was out there. And, you have to be careful nowadays. It feels like we have some type of fake news or fake headline or something like that every single day lately. So take everything you see out there with a grain of salt, I guess, because it's pretty insane how much price action that really fueled with the stock. And honestly, I'll bet you that we get a lot of comments tonight of people that didn't even know that was fake.
And like another thing too is like I know legally Elon does have to like step down from his Doge position like sometime in late May or early June because he's only allowed to work like 130 days because he's a special government employee. So as like the weeks go on, this can be a potential like upside play depending on how the news comes out. But I figured I'd mention that just to keep in the back of your head going forward. But looking at Tesla right now, Tom, do you see any like key levels on this one, because it's been like a pinball in the short term?
It really has, and I've been watching it on this overall uptrend here. If we go back to like the lows at the beginning of 2023, and then at the beginning of 2024 in April, there was a pretty good dip there. I have been like watching that trend of like higher lows starting to come into play, and I am really watching this key support around like $200 to $220. $200 obviously is going to be huge as a major support, but that recent low has been bouncing very well, and we've been seeing some great price action rejection. So I love that as far as like the overall setup for like a potential bounce. But in the short term, there's been a lot of resistance and multiple rejections right around 292. So if we see like a good breakout above 292 in the short term, that could maybe be something that you look at as maybe like a good breakout opportunity back to the upside there.
Sounds good there. And then as we're talking about crazy individual stocks, we can't not talk about Newsmax as they got slaughtered today. So looking at this one, they're all the way back down to $50 a share. They fell by 77% today, and it looks like the pump is coming towards an end.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, we talked about this one on Monday, and then on Tuesday, of course, we got that great continuation yesterday, but all good things come to an end, right? And this was pretty insane to see Newsmax fall down like this, and this is why you have to be careful of these stocks that go insanely crazy like Newsmax does in the short term, but keep it on the radar. You know, there could still be some more action coming with it, maybe the next couple days, but Mike, I just can't believe, honestly, all the tariff action, going back to the heat map, that sea of red is definitely scary tonight.
All right, Tom, so what do you have for us with the SPY levels and analysis? Tomorrow's set to be a crazy day, and SPY is already moving quite a bit in after hours.
I know, right? And the funny part is in after hours, SPY actually held a key resistance at 570, which is awesome. I've had that as a pretty good resistance in the short term, and with this drop tonight, SPY is now testing the recent lows around 550, and then even below there, down around 547. These two levels are going to be crucial, in my opinion, on SPY for the next couple trading days. If we see these levels start to give out, I'm going to become increasingly bearish, and with how much the SPY dropped tonight, I would not be surprised if the SPY ended up breaking down below there. Now, to find some good levels on SPY below there, we have to go back quite a ways, right? I really do like a 543 and then especially 540. 540 is going to be a big level that I'm watching for, and SPY has bounced off that multiple times.
And Tom, we're getting back to the crucial 547 level, which was the low from this Monday. This is the lowest point the market has gotten with this recent correction. If we see a break below that, things are going to get nuts. And that, in my opinion, is the most important level to watch. Again, not only is this like a key level in terms of just like a recent correction low, but it is also just a massive support as well. So if we see a break below there, buckle up.
100%, Mike, and there's a lot of downside action here. We're already breaking 550 as we've sat here and explained SPY. That is how much movement is coming into the SPY and how much volatility is hitting right now in after hours. So definitely have your eyes on that recent low. That is going to be one of the and the main level that I am watching as well, Mike. But I know that like the SPY has been pretty crazy lately. I know that the overall market, there's not really too much going on as far as the economic schedule here. Of course, the reciprocal tariff plan was the main event of the week. Tomorrow, we do have ISM Services PMI at 10 a.m. Eastern. That can impact the market sometimes. And then Friday, we do have a non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate data, and even a Powell speech at 11:25 a.m., which we'll definitely talk about a lot more tomorrow.
There we go, and the earnings lineup is basically clear, which is good to see. I would say the most important thing right now is to think clearly. While we have all this breaking news happening and basically a global trade war unfolding in front of our eyes, now is more important than ever to, think rationally. And there's a couple things that go into that. With a market environment like this one, there are more opportunities that come up than you're just like a normal, smooth sailing, clear cut market environment in multiple different ways. Of course, this giant dip will offer a ton of longer term buy the dip opportunities, but it'll also offer a lot of shorter term, more tactical style trades, like taking bearish positions, maybe some short term positions in UVXY, SQQQ, gold, silver, and other safe haven assets. So right now, please try to focus on protecting yourself, following the money, and making long-term oriented decisions. We're going to have a lot of great opportunities coming up, and you don't want to miss them. So let's trade smart, let's trade disciplined, and besides that, Tom, let's get right into some setups and predictions. A stock that is close on watch is IBIT, and it is to the downside. I mentioned this one in yesterday's video, and it is also a recent big money play. IBIT is a Bitcoin ETF. We recently saw a bearish big money play on this one, and IBIT is bleeding pretty badly in after hours right now. This one is certainly still on my bearish radar. The big money trader got the 45 strike puts for May 16th. It's just under $1 million trade, and I'm very excited to see how it ends up playing out.
Yeah, it seems pretty crazy here in this overall range. If we start to see it reject, that could be awesome. And of course, in after hours today, it definitely looks a lot better than it does on the daily chart. That's for sure. With the way it's falling down in after hours, down to around 48, I'll definitely keep it on the radar. I talked about this one yesterday, and I'm still watching it in the short term, is Chewy on support. You know, going to the daily chart, Chewy is still on a pretty good base. In after hours right now, it's not really down all that much. Now, of course, if the overall market keeps going down and Chewy ends up breaking below this base around 31 or $31 to $30, that could end up being a good spot to maybe stop out on Chewy. But I am still eyeing up this base, and over the next couple trading days, if we do see the market dip and this base test, it might be a decent buying opportunity. So definitely something that I'm keeping on the radar for the next couple trading days.
All right, sounds good. Another stock that is certainly on watch is SLV. I know it has been mentioned quite a bit over recent weeks, and it is certainly benefiting off of this recent news. SLV follows silver prices, and while silver has certainly been lagging behind gold, which has been making new all-time highs every single day, there's also some opportunity in the sense that it's not as overextended as gold in some of these gold-related companies and plays. SLV is still performing well, and it is getting extremely close to breaking above its multi-month high and resistance, just under $32 a share. I like how it's holding strongly in after hours, even with all of this market panic and craziness, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more and more money flow into safe haven assets, because we still don't know how the rest of the world is going to respond to this crazy news, and I have a feeling things are going to get shaken up quite a bit. So SLV is definitely on my bullish radar. This is not a play only for tomorrow. This certainly does have like medium to longer term potential as well.
Yeah, these metals in the short term are on fire, whether it's silver or gold, and I'm sure that we'll see silver pushing towards 32 here soon with all this crazy action. Look at gold continue up in after hours here. This run is just insane right now. With my next setup, I'm looking at NVIDIA to the downside. I'm actually watching for a $100 push over the next couple trading days, but I will say, as we get close to 100, you have to keep that in mind as a crazy psychological support. We can see that there was over 188,000 shares stacked up at that $100 level, like at the end of day today in after hours. So definitely have your eyes on NVIDIA and on this $100 support as it drops. That might even be a good target for tomorrow, but have that in mind if you're day trading it down, that, hey, we might get an intraday reaction here.
$100 is a key psychological level, and NVIDIA is a stock that has already been relatively weak as well over like the past few months. So this one will certainly be on my radar as well. So good stuff there, Tom. And besides that, let's jump right into today's momentum plays, and with the first one we have QBTS to the downside.
QBTS is selling off in after hours like crazy. If they end up pulling back under $6.85, keep watching them down.
All right, with the next one we have GDX to the upside.
Yeah, the gold stock's pumping. If GDX can break out above 46.50, keep watching it up.
And then with the last one, we have BABA to the downside.
Oh my gosh, I was looking at the China stocks in after hours, and BABA was not surprising me that much, but if they break under 124, watch for more momentum down.
All right, so we have these three stocks on the radar for potential continuations tomorrow, if and only if they break through the levels listed. Again, prioritize smart, sustainable, long-term trading habits above all else. Have stop losses, protect yourself, follow the money, and have a thesis for every trade that you take. You can learn a lot more in depth about these trading habits and behaviors and much more for free in the Key Lessons channel of the StockedUp Discord, which is linked in the description down below. But besides that, Tom, let's also go into today's $715,000 big money trade, and we are looking at ticker symbol STLA. Today, the big money actually played calls on this one, where they bought the 11 strike call options that expire on May 16th of 2025. For those of you who don't know, STLA is a multinational auto manufacturer, Stellantis. I'm sure many of you have heard of them before. And while they are falling in after hours, they're certainly holding up better than a lot of other companies. These call options are right at the money. They have a little bit over a month of time to them, which is good. So it looks like the trader here is looking to capitalize off of a bounce. STLA has actually been struggling quite a bit over recent months, and it is currently in its largest drawdown since the COVID crash. So it looks like the big money trader here is buying this dip.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome. I mean, Stellantis, a very well-known auto manufacturer. Very surprising that they're trying to buy up this dip right now with all the tariffs, with all the tariff action and everything like that. But as we know, Stellantis does a lot of like the Dodge products and stuff along those lines. But very interesting setup here overall. I can't believe how much STLA has been pulling back like since the middle of 2024. They were actually ripping to the upside in a great way, and this pullback has been pretty rough. Like from their high to where they are now, that pullback is like 62, almost 63%. So definitely striking. And one of the more wild big money plays that I've seen. I will say this one definitely surprises me, Mike, and it's even a good strike as well, which, it's not like they're trading like the 14 strike calls or something. It's even in the money.
Exactly. So it'll definitely be very interesting, and we will keep it close on watch. But we also have to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, James12029 in the Stocked Up Discord, who had some great profits today with some Coinbase call options. So we can see his post in the profits channel right here. Huge shout out to you, James. Thank you so much for being a great active member of the community, and keep on rolling. There should be a bunch of great opportunities in the short term and also in a broader term sense as well. So if you're into short term trading, definitely check out that first link in the description and the comments down below to get access to the Stocked Up trading floor. This will give you full access to our army of trading robots, daily big money plays, weekly live events, which is actually tonight, among basically every other tool and resource you could need for short-term trading. You could also chat with Tom and myself all day long, and it is the place to be, especially in a market environment like this one. Again, there's going to be a lot of great opportunities, and it is certainly a great time to be a trader. Make sure to use coupon code BIGMONEY to get access to the best deal possible on the yearly plan. We still have that code valid, but we are certainly in a crazy market, and we are about to see some insane moves and some very important developments here soon. So thank you all so much for watching. If you're new to the channel and you want to stay informed on the market, make sure to obliterate that subscribe button to get our videos recommended to you more often. And besides that, let's crush it in the market tomorrow.